show. Always Irish show. Always Irish show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell me. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. You know, for a minute, just 1 minute, it occurred to me, it was, a holiday yesterday. A lot of people had a lot of stuff going on, parties, hanging out by the pool, taking mom out, having a couple drinks, cooking out, whatever. And I'm thinking, maybe I'll log in tomorrow morning and it's just going to be kind of a slow start to the week. And people are kind of a little drowsy waking up today, getting their week started. And I log in and the chat's already off the rails. I just can't. There's just always something, man. It's the middle of May. There's just not that much going on. And it's just, we're all over the board with everything. Josh Miller, what's going on? Jake R, Steven Arado, crying bellies here, looking for more NIL money for LSU, apparently. See if we could raise some super chats to go to LSU's NIL so that they could get some defensive linemen out of the portal. It's just, it really today, I'm like, man, maybe people are just hungover and tired from whatever they were doing yesterday. And it's just going to be low key, not so ultimate, not so fast, my friend. Oh my gosh. We have a lot to go over. So, and it's, a lot of people have asked me lately, why do you entertain trolls to the level you do on your show? Why don't you just block them, be done, keep it moving with the good faith Notre Dame people and eliminate that distraction? I don't see it that way. I like mixing it up. And I like adding that element into the mix and dissecting the arguments. I like, and the other part is, you guys, I get where some of this is coming from. These people love Notre Dame. They've just been hurt so much. I really do think that. I think these people really do like Notre Dame. It'd be different if it was like a Michigan fan trolling me every day. The Notre Dame people that troll my show, it's not because they hate Notre Dame. It's because they love Notre Dame. And they have so much scar tissue that I wish you saw. I wish Notre Dame could play good football. It's just scar tissue for 30 years. And it, even when I get frustrated with the crying belly or the commander or whatever, a part of me does smile inside because I've been that guy. I was that guy for a lot of Kelly. And before I had this show where I loved Notre Dame, but it was just negative, and no light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I understand that. But it's just, I thought today it would be we could ease into the week. No. So, all right, let's get into this. We got a big time retraction. We got a little recruiting stuff to go over. And I got to talk some Notre Dame offense. I have some stuff about the offense. It's been on my list for like a week, every morning show. And as soon as we get started, we end up going way off the map and I never get to any of my points. Call in line 312-988-15. It's open. You want to talk about anything you want to talk about, recruiting worries, the summer, A&M, whatever, wherever you want to go, we could go. I want to focus, if we could, on some of the offense stuff today. And if you ask me, it's the biggest question marks of the year, in my opinion. That's going to be the needle that determines where Notre Dame's at. Okay. And if it's going to be a struggle, or if we're going to get this thing going to where it looks like a playoff game winning outfit offensively. So first things first, Homer TD, $5 holler. Good morning, John. Go Irish. Hope you guys had a good Mother's Day. Things are complicated. You know, the lives you lead and the circles you're in, it's a wild life. So I hope all of you guys in the family were able to do something nice for Mother's Day and kind of turn off the football for a minute. Even you guys deserve that in your important role in this situation. Commander, the $5 holler. Let's all donate $5 to Johnny. The man quit his day job to do this. It's, you know, it occurred to me, I don't live the most normal life. You know, Johnny had his little cubicle job, making his money, you know, whatever, and had a little comfortable setup and whatever. No, I don't want to do that. I want to argue with Commander Luke 3 times a week. I love it. There really is. It's all I've ever wanted to do, you guys. As a little kid, this is it. It's all I've ever wanted to do. I grew up listening to Chicago sports talk radio, and it's all I've ever wanted to do. As a little kid driving around with my dad, listening to the score, growing up, it's all I ever wanted to do. I'm like, I could do this. I want to be a radio guy yelling about sports, making funny noises and yelling at people. Like, it's all I ever wanted to do. Jay Carr. Maybe this will be telling. Almost equal, just for very different reasons. Very, very different reasons. Yeah, it's about equal, but for different reasons. The problem I had at the old job is, and I'm sure you guys could relate to this, and I highlighted a bunch of chats that happened before we started that we're going to get into. Not the right Chicago sports talk radio because you became a White Sox fan. Gross. That happened before the radio thing happened. Like, that's just when you're a tiny little kid. And Grandpa Kennedy would say, we root for 2 teams, the White Sox and whoever the hell's playing the Cubs. And that's how I grew up. That's who we're every time, you know, baseball. That's what Grandpa Kennedy would say. We root for 2 teams around here, the White Sox and whoever the hell the Cubs are playing. And that's how I grew up. That came before the radio. So those seeds were planted. That's gross too. Well, whatever, man. I'm sorry. I do like, I'm going to tell you this. I do like, I like the Notre Dame Sox fan combo. There's a million Notre Dame Cub fan things. And then that's like, oh, the huge fan base group and you're a part of that. That's really common. There are not that many double dipping, diehard Notre Dame and then Sox fans. Mason Plummer's one of them who does recruiting stuff, and him and I bond over the misery. So that's a different path. It's a different path. And so I do like it, except for every part of the actual baseball. So there is that problem. Oh, what I was going to say about the rage at work. Here's the issue I ran into. Yeah. And the Yankees too. Yeah. It's like, who are your teams? Notre Dame football, the Yankees, and Duke basketball. It's like, okay, like nobody takes you seriously if you say that. Like, even if you genuinely mean it, like, even if you are serious and you genuinely mean it, people are going to roll their eyes when you're like, oh, really? Notre Dame, Duke basketball, and Yankees? Okay. Yeah, and the Cowboys in the NFL. And then you're like, what are you doing? Just picking the biggest fan bases in the world? Like, okay. But I'm sure you guys can relate to this. I'm going to do the chats. I'll go right to the calls. We got a couple of them already. Hang in there, guys. I'll go right to you. Here we go again. I didn't get through the introduction yet. What I was going to say is, The problem I ran into at the corporate job was I could do my part very, very well. And if the other people involved didn't do their parts well, it all came back on me. And that started to add up. Like, I could do what I could do perfect, but if I don't get the proper help I need, the whole thing kind of caves in and then everybody's mad and it falls on me. That's the struggle I had. It was very, very frustrating. Yeah, the ND Yankees is a real thing. I'm sure it is, especially if you're a Catholic out in that part of the country, then I totally understand it. Like, I guess I'm not talking about if you live in New York. Do you feel me on? Like, I'm not talking if you live in New York, I'm judging you for being a Yankees fan. I'm like, you know what I mean? If you live in the middle of Nowhereville and you're like Cowboys and the Yankees at Notre Dame, you know. Oh, man. There's nothing to worry about, John. Marcus has worked too hard to fail. Just do a countdown till we start kicking anus. John, I like that. I just the work ethic's a big deal to me. And you all know that. And it's one of the big things that I respect about Marcus Freeman that you didn't get enough of out of Kelly. That being said, John, and I'm sure a lot of you will appreciate this, Micah Bell committed to Vanderbilt. Good for him. Good spot. And a coach that you can trust. That's a good guy. Good academic school. That all makes sense. The work is the work, but eventually the results got to catch up to the work. You feel you are like, you know what I mean? Like, the work ethic is the work ethic, and I see it and I appreciate it. And I see and hear a lot more of it than a lot of people do behind the scenes. Now, the people I know, and I hear what's going on. I love all of that work, but it does have to start coming back into results on the field. And I think everybody understands that. Marcus understands that. Everybody understands that. John, have you bought what Frank Thomas and Doug Flutie selling? Yeah. Every White Sox game that you watch, which isn't that many for me this year, because I just can't. Why sign up for 3 hours of misery every single day? At least if your football team's bad, it's 3 hours a week and you're miserable. Your baseball team's bad, it's 3 hours a day. Every day you get punched in the face. Yeah, he's on that Nugenics, man. Every time there's a in between innings, there's Frank Thomas with his big self talking about Nugenics. You need to find the passion back in your life. I'm looking at this dude. He's big as can be, and he's like, it'll help your receding hairline, and it'll help you perk up if you're getting. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Johnny went Hollywood on us when Freeman took over the operation. I'll tell you this. I knew there was going to be some new excitement because I knew Freeman was going to do some things different and instill a new vibe. Like, I did know there was going to be more action. I just knew there's going to be more action. I mean, I agree with this for the moment that Deuce is currently more of an athlete playing quarterback than a quarterback playing quarterback, if that makes sense. And it's like, are you nervous about that he isn't that polished or this and that, John? Whatever. What do you think about that? He's not that. That makes me nervous when you say he's an athlete, but, not a quarterback. Here's my answer to that. You roll with it. This is a guy that's 100% an SEC quarterback, and he loves Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame, and so does the family. This is an absolute no-brainer. Like, yeah, there's risk, and what if it doesn't work? I don't care. You roll the dice on this one because this is a body type and an athletic skill set Notre Dame doesn't get. Okay, that's a big deal. This is a guy, that's the other thing. Everybody, we need more talent, we need more athletic, we need this and that. And then you get a guy like Deuce, and then that's not good enough either because he's not polished. You got to start somewhere, people. Here's how you should be looking at Deuce. You should be looking at Deuce, saying to yourself, this is a guy who has physical gifts Notre Dame usually doesn't get to come want to play quarterback, and you're pulling him out of SEC land, and that should be your big takeaway. That should be your big takeaway from all this. Whatever he develops into or not, that frame and that natural athleticism and those gifts, he is an SEC prototype quarterback. And if he ends up at Notre Dame and this all comes to fruition, that is like, I am. Are you concerned that he's more of an athlete? Would I want him to be more polished at this point? Sure. But I'm banking on that athleticism because it adds something to this quarterback room we haven't had. It adds a totally different dimension to what this all could be because of those athletic gifts. So it's just like you can't win. One of the biggest complaints I always hear, and one that I say, Notre Dame needs more better athletes and, close the gap, blah, 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 blah. Well, here you go. This is this guy. That's that dude. That's that dude. And you got to be confident that my homie Gino and Mikey D are going to be able to work with him. But my word, those physical gifts are something Notre Dame does not get in the quarterback room. And I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. And it's like, I see the criticism of his arm and all this stuff. Well, you know what? I watched that 7-on-7 thing. I'm not Mike Goolsby. I'm not going to break down every inch of his motion. I don't know how to do all that. I just know I like what I saw, and it looks a lot different than what I'm used to Notre Dame having. So whatever, man. All right, I got to get through the introduction, then we'll bring it to the callers, and then we'll do our chats, okay? If he starts Leonard, which he's going to, then there needs to be pressure applied. Yeah, it's going to be Riley Leonard. Everybody knows that. Like, does everybody know that now? It's just that's what it's going to be, okay? If he's healthy, and he should be. Always Irish Senior, what's going on? They're in Florida. Hope you guys are having your coffee overlooking the golf course. Good to see you guys. Glad you made it to Florida, parents. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. Notifications on that way. You alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss anything. Twitter, search bar Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it, you can get it. If you don't want to see my face, I certainly don't blame you for that. The call-in lines, you know what they are. 312-900-8815. You dialed up. Tell Uncle Yanni Boy all you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. Irish Wire, you could read all about it. 20 minutes in, we get the intro now. We just get going, man, and I just start running my mouth. We just get going. I'm sorry, man. It's just the way it worked out today. Is it that big of a deal, really? I'll be honest with you. I just like doing the intro because it's fun to say. I just like it because it's fun to say. And it gives me a reason to make like 5 different weird sounds. And that's fun for me. Can a guy have a little fun at his work? Give me a break. Patreon.com/Always Irish. It's former captain Mike Goolsby and myself breaking it all down. Good interview with Kyle McCarthy. What was it? Yeah, Friday, right after the show. He's an agent now. We learned all about, agent life and all this changes coming with that between college kids going into the pro game and everything that goes in it. We had a really good long talk with him about everything from Notre Dame to being an agent, all that. So everybody over at Patreon, check it out. And everybody else, feel free to join. NDSubwayalumni.com. Get yourself a Lewski, man. We had the Lewski out at the tailgate for blue and gold. And it was awesome. And it just pops. It's bright. And when you're drinking out of it, then the Go Irish on the back, everything. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right. A couple super chats. And Commander. There's been like 4 chats already from Commander saying, you know, what's Freeman doing? Is he on vacation sipping Mai Tais or something? And then we're going to lose all of our recruits and everything. I'm going to tell you this right now. You could question Marcus Freeman for a lot of things. You could say, what went wrong at the end of the Ohio State game? The wrong decisions were made by Notre Dame coaches. You could say, I'm uncomfortable with why we entered the Louisville game appearing to be disinterested in playing competitive football. You could say, why do you go down to Clemson and you're just not ready and your offense can't do anything? I don't like. You could question a lot of things. It ain't going to be the guy's work ethic. Now, I will say this. Just working hard isn't the full job. You need to work hard and get things accomplished. But the actual work part has to be there to get different results that we all desire as Notre Dame people. And, you know, you can't confuse activity with accomplishment. And I understand that. But at the same time, if you don't do that hard work, it's not possible to end up down the road with the higher end result. It's just not. That work needs to be put in as a baseline. And the reality of it is, if we're all being honest, there's a lot more work if you're Notre Dame's head coach than there is a lot of other places. There just is, people. There just is. There's more flaming hoops to jump through, more BS to deal with. Recruiting's harder. You got to do things different. Like, there are a lot more obligations and things with the Notre Dame job that make it tedious and a lot of stuff you got to deal with compared to some other places. You think he's on vacation. Did it ever occur to anybody that, like, we don't see and hear everything going on? Anybody? Like Marcus Freeman does not need to check in with you and let you know what he's doing this week. There's a lot of stuff that gets done that never sees the light of day, but it's important shit. Nobody hears about it. It ain't on a blog. I'm not on YouTube yelling about it. There's a lot of work that goes on here that nobody sees. And it's important work. Nobody sees it. That doesn't mean it's not getting done. So you could question Marcus on a lot of things, and he does need to get better as an in-game coach. But the work part, no, never going to be a question to me. Oh, boy. You guys are funny. All right, let's do these chats. Go to the calls. Mikey pulls. John, if you could sit down face-to-face with Freeman and ask him 3 questions, what would they be? Ooh. Can I think about that? I don't want to answer that right now. I want to think about that and make sure I come up with the right answers. That's a great question, Mikey. That's a great question. Probably, I'd want to know one of them. I'll give you one of them. I would want to know the difference in his approach. And again, I'm not saying he would answer him. That's the other thing. I don't know if he would answer him truthfully, but I would want to know maybe the top 1 or 2 things he's learned from when he started until now. The biggest things that have like he as the head guy hit him between starting out what you thought this would be and where you're at now. I would want to know the biggest things that hit him that surprised him about this job and everything like that. That's one of the things I would like to know. And I think that's a really interesting question. You ate the Cubs. You don't understand Star Wars. You despise cats and you enjoy golf. How are we friends? I still love you, brother. I don't know. It's my charming personality, Rodney. Obviously. That's why I'm friends with anybody. Because of my calm demeanor and soothing personality, right? And the problem with the Star Wars thing was the one I chose to watch was not the original one. So right when the movie started, they were already on their teams, and the Sasquatch was doing stuff, and they're flying in galaxies, and everybody else in America knew who's what and what they're doing. And I'm sitting there like, bro, it looks like they're just planet hopping with the Sasquatch as the underboss. I have no idea what's going on here. And I'm like, I just don't get it, man. Like, tell me a backstory. I can't just pick up with you flying in different planets and then I'm supposed to know what that means. I have no idea. And I still want an answer. Someone tell me why a Sasquatch is a part of this. How? How is a Sasquatch a part of this thing? And how is he like a part of the regime? I don't understand the Sasquatch at all. Of all the places of the lore of a Sasquatch, they don't exist on these magic planets. They're in the woods somewhere. I've never understood the Sasquatch. So whatever. $5 olive from the chief. $5 used to be a hot and ready back in the good old days. Me and my college roommate figured it was cheaper to buy hot and ready than buy groceries. Dude, you ain't kidding with the hot and readies. I mean, I went through a hot and ready phase too. The problem is, man, even the Chewie is a Wookiee. You're just making up silly words now. You're making up silly words. I don't know what a Wookiee is. That sounds like a made up racial insult or something. I have no idea what that means. Those hot and readies used to be legit. Bro, the quality, just like everything else, has gone down. The last hot and ready I got, it's basically cardboard with like ketchup and then a couple loose strings of like the cheese that's barely cooked, and that's your $5 holler. Like, bro, it ain't what it used to be. And they may not even be $5 anymore. The Sasquatch is a Wookiee. But what's a Wookiee? The Sasquatch is a Wookiee. But what's a Wookiee? You're telling me a Sasquatch is something that I've never heard of. What does a Wookiee mean? I have no idea. I don't know. You guys are making up words that I've never heard of in my life. I have no idea. No idea. All right, let me make sure I got the super chats, then we'll go to the calls. I'm bad with that, I know. Oh, boy. There's 750. John should stream him watching all the movies on a rainy day. Dude. I wanted to give it a chance. I couldn't figure out what's going on, man. What are you guys talking about? I have no idea. Oh, 818-618 coming up. 818, what's going on? Good morning, Rodney. Are we still friends?
Hey, John.
What's up?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay. Listen, man, I appreciate you dealing with me, even though I don't understand a lot of the things in your world, brother. I don't know. I'm a weird dude.
Funny.
I'm a weird guy, but everybody knows that.
After I heard you rant the first time on your YouTube channel, it popped up in my algorithm rhythm. And, my buddy's watching it with me, and he's like, dude, this guy is exactly like you. Exactly what you do all the time. Like, you get me watching a Notre Dame game when they're playing crappy. Especially if you throw in just a little bit of alcohol. Dude, you and I, it's the same thing. I mean, I thought I was watching myself.
That's
so
dangerous.
I'm just assuming, okay, we love Notre Dame football, so that's great. Anything else wouldn't matter, but I just assumed, I bet he also likes Star Wars. I bet he also likes the Cubs. He lives in Chicago. He can't like the White Sox, for God's sake.
Yeah.
It was just, I guess we can share our, we both have about the same level of, liking for the Bears, I suppose. That's about the same. So anyway, it's all good.
All right. Can I ask you this? Is a Wookiee like one side of the army? Like, I'm not being sarcastic. Is a Wookiee like one side of the group that's competing against the other side? Is that what they're called? Or is it a species?
I have no.
And it says John seems more like an Ewok type of man. What the hell is an Ewok? Sounds like an extinct.
Wait, you said
an Ewok.
I think you said something else. Wookiee? You said a Wookiee? What? Now say what again?
An Ewok to me sounds like an extinct bird. Like, that sounds like some species of bird that's extinct. None of these words mean anything to me. I have no idea. No idea.
Well, many Star Wars fans were not the biggest fans of Ewoks either, so I guess we'll give you that one back in the day anyway. But I thought you were referring to what you called the Sasquatch. I assume you mean Chewbacca?
Yeah, there's only one Sasquatch in the movies. Whichever one that is the one I'm talking about. And I want to know how a Sasquatch ended up a part of this.
I'm baffled which one you were watching.
I couldn't tell you.
Was it?
I couldn't tell you, but it was one of the follow-up ones, and they were flying on different planets, and the Sasquatch was working on like one of the spacecrafts.
Literally every Star Wars movie ever.
He was like a mechanic, and I'm just looking at it going, I'm supposed to believe this Sasquatch is a mechanic on this spaceship, and I have trouble wrapping my mind around it, man.
Okay, so you're probably watching Empire Strikes Back, which is literally my favorite one. But yeah, if you started it there, I can see how you get a little confused.
Dude,
strangely enough,
should I watch the first one? Should I just watch the first one on a rainy day in the summer to see if I can understand it? And then I'll check back in with you guys, or what?
Here's the funny thing about watching the first one. That can mean different things to different generations, because when Lucas started it, when it came out in 1977, he actually retitled it Episode 4 years later, because the story to him started at 4, and then he goes back and he tells the prequel story of young Anakin Skywalker and how he became Darth Vader, and those were the prequels. So Episodes 1, 2, and 3 came out like 20 years after the original trilogy. So that is actually that's up for debate. The very first one that was filmed was 1977, and that was Star Wars: A New Hope. I would probably suggest starting with that one.
Okay. All right, I will try and I'll try and do that. But dude, I genuinely mean it. I was like, maybe I missed the boat on this. I want to give it a shot, and I had no idea what was going on, and then I couldn't follow it, and then I just like drifted interest. Can we switch over to some football, Rodney?
Yeah, we can.
Can we switch over to some football, man? There's Notre Dame fans are in a weird spot. Notre Dame fans are in a weird spot, Rodney, this summer. Notre Dame fans are in a weird spot. We want results. We feel like we have a pretty good team. I think people are low-key excited, but more than they want to show. But they just have anxiety because they've been let down so many times. This is going to be an anxious summer for Notre Dame fans. There's a lot on the line this year, and there's optimism, but it's guarded, very, very guarded. And this is going to be a long summer with everyday drag until we get to A&M.
Well, I don't know why fans have big expectations. I mean, hell, we're not even a top 35 team. So, I mean, what do you anything should,
that's
should
a
make
good
you
point.
Happy, right?
That's a good point. I'll get to him after the calls. Yeah, we'll get to him in his retraction.
Oh, dude, can we talk about that first? Can I give you my take on that?
Yeah, please. I have a couple theories. Rodney, I have a couple theories myself, so I want to hear yours and see if they line up. I have a couple theories of what could happen.
You said he sort of backtracked on what he said, but I didn't read any of what he backtracked on. So I'm just going to give you what I think. I have 3 scenarios, but the one I think is probably the most likely. Okay, first scenario is, let's just go with the genuine one. Let's just say he means it 100%. Okay, the only evidence I would give him to, I could see, there is some, we have had situations, there is a situation in the past that does kind of line up with this one. At this Charlie Weiss's first 2 years, they were, a bowl team, top 10. He finished in the top 10 the first year, first couple years. Obviously, we know what's happening against LSU. And then they came out in 2007 with some reasonably high expectations, even though they lost a lot of players, and they ended up, losing 9 games, 3-9, and all that. So if he's using that as his reference because, Notre Dame lost some key players, okay. But if you saw how bare that cupboard was in those classes that were after that from Willingham literally not recruiting, which is another reason why I despise golf. Okay, because that's all that guy did when he was coaching at Notre Dame. From everything I heard,
a lot of tea times.
But I mean, those were empty classes, dude. There was just, you could see it coming. I mean, I remember Pete Carroll mentioning that when he's like, yeah, you could kind of see this happening when they interviewed him after the 2007 game where they beat him pretty bad. Anyway, that's the only legitimacy this has of any standard of that happening that I can think of. However, like I said, you look at the talent, it doesn't even make sense, and plus they had no defense either. So it was like, come on, you don't even, that makes no sense to me. If you're great on defense, even if you're bad on offense, the thing about defense is, offenses these days, I think, win championships, but defense keeps you relevant. Yeah. Defense will keep you the kind of competition. It just does. It raises the floor. So I'm thinking two things. Okay, number one, he's absolutely doing it for clicks. He needs the attention.
Okay, now wait. Time out, though, Rodney. Time out, though. Is there not a balance there? Because I get wanting clicks in the middle of the summer when there's no football going and you need to generate traffic. But is there not a line where gaining the clicks, but you're gaining them in a negative way, works against you and not for you? Like, I do not believe every bit of traffic you get on social media is necessarily a good thing. If 99% of the comments are saying you don't know about football and your job's talk about football, you're getting a lot of engagement, but is it good for you? That's my problem with that. Like, people are saying he just needs clicks, but if they're for the wrong reasons, then I don't know if that helps your cause.
Well, here's what I think the most likely scenario is what you said. He freaking forgot. He forgot. He was looking at all these other teams, and he literally just slipped his mind. And he didn't want to look like he didn't know what he was taught, or that he made a mistake, which I would have respected him more for. Okay, I get it. Oh shoot, how did I miss them? They're right there. That's like the most obvious thing, and you miss them. I can honestly see that. But he didn't want to look like, he wanted to make it look like he knew what he was doing. And so they said, how can I double down on this and make sense out of it? It's like, no, bro.
Yeah.
No sense. You can't talk to it. I mean, come on. That literally might be the worst take I've ever heard in college football.
Well,
here's, like you said, dude, if it happens.
Man, here's the problem. Here's where I'm at. I share his concerns when he expounded and was like, I'm nervous about, is Riley Leonard healthy and that offense, are they going to be able to whatever? I share his concerns, but those concerns are reasons to not have Notre Dame ranked 7th or 8th or 10th, not 35th. That's my problem. I'm not saying there are not concerns. There are, but those are not reasons to rank them 50th.
John, remind me something. Who did Notre Dame beat in the bowl game last year? Iowa State or something?
The Beavers.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Oregon State.
Pounded them.
Okay, I forgot it wasn't Iowa State. That was from a few years ago. I was like, because I think he had Iowa State ranked like 10 places ahead of him. And by the way, we won that game by 30 points with our backup quarterback. So it's like if it's because you don't have faith in Leonard staying healthy, well, they still won their bowl game by that many points. I don't know.
Now let's be fair. Let's be very, very fair. Oregon State had a skeleton of a team too, because they lost their coach.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
They lost they lost their coach, and then a lot of the assistants left, and then a lot of the players, they were a mess. They were a mess as well. Tom Chris, 2488. Thank you very much. And again, thank you guys for attending the Blue and Gold tailgate. We love seeing you, and for the gifts that you handmade and all that stuff too. My group appreciates you. Thank you. So yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm listening. You're making, I just think that dude, I honestly, because I don't think a person, I don't know this guy. If he's working for 247, I want to assume he's got some integrity. I can't believe he did that I think it was an accident.
Yeah,
and he just tried to look like, oh, God, I made a mistake. How do I get out of this?
It crossed my mind.
The first thing I saw when I said, what? This is before you explained it or anything. This is before you went through what he said. I'm like, oh, okay, he forgot. Yeah. All right, that's fine. I get it.
Yeah. And
just own it. Just oh, shoot, guys, I forgot.
Dude, I could totally see it because we're in a Notre Dame vacuum. My world is a Notre Dame vortex. These guys are national. So they're working with all the conferences and everything. And I think it just slipped his mind. I don't know, whatever. So, and then here's the other thing, Rodney. People are going, some people have said, who cares about this? Why is this getting the traction is? Nobody cares what one writer thinks, whatever. I got an answer for you. It's summer and there's nothing going on. So when anything pops on social media at all, that's what the talk's going to be about because it's the middle of summer. You don't have games to react to, whatever. Like all it takes is something like that to pop in the summer when there's nothing going on and it gets a bunch of run. That's just the way this goes, man.
Well, I don't get when you ask.
It doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me at all. Well, that's another good point. It's like, who cares if somebody says the team I love sucks? Well, I do. I do.
The people that have written comments about it, obviously. Well, that's the answer to the question. It's like, what do you mean, who cares? You don't care. But anyway, and again, that's why it kind of gets under my skin because, first of all, if he got it wrong, or if he just forgot, he's getting clicks for forgetting. Okay. All right. Again, I'm not like, okay, that's understandable. We all do it. But that doesn't mean you get rewarded. However, you're going to react to that. And then the number two part is that if you're saying it out of either absolute despise for Notre Dame or out of just to get clicks, well, that's another thing that sucks because, again, you're getting rewarded for bad behavior, in my opinion. But look who's doing it. I mean, it's us, it's the fan base, it's all the people get riled up about that stuff and have to lock on to every story because there isn't a lot going on this summer.
Yeah.
But I can't find a scenario. Again, if you rank them like, let's say, I could see ranking Notre Dame as low as, I can't even see going really past 15th or 16th, man, just because of what they've been the last couple of years and teams that, again, you got to look on if a team's overrated, you have to look at the teams that they're above and say, oh, well, this team's better than that one. But I look down that list, I'm like, okay, I can't even figure out where you put how much farther you can even put Notre Dame down than top 10 based on all the evidence we have of the other teams, coming into the college football season that are also top 25 ilk. He doesn't have them in the top 35, bro, you forgot. You forgot or you did it on purpose.
Now, Andrew's asking, but Andrew Gilmore asked, doesn't 247 have editors so that, like, when I write an article when I do an article for USA Today Irish Wire, I write the article, save it as a draft. Then the managing editor sees that I have one waiting. He'll go through it to check the spelling or move anything around that needs adjusted. He goes through it as the final editor arbiter, and then he makes it live. Maybe, I don't know if they have that or not, but whatever, man. It's just, here we go. Rodney, here we go.
Well, maybe they do, and maybe the editor's like, oh, we got an accidental piece of gold here. You know what I mean? Like, this will get
it's an accidental piece of something, but I don't think it's gold.
Holtz, for their click.
Holtz, my beer says, I care too much sometimes. I'm sick of the disrespect and hate, but it's on us. We have to win, just win, damn it. Win big games. This losing crap has got to stop in the big games. I believe that is the sentiment, man. That's where Notre Dame fans are at. And you're sick of the disrespect. At the same time, you have no one to blame but yourself because we have not. Every time Notre Dame's in a position to be able to change people's opinion of them on the field, they have not done it. They have not done it in the biggest of the biggest moments, the needle movers, Ohio State, both Georgia games, the playoff games. Those are the needle movers, and we have not done well. That's on us. And I carry it around like a scarlet letter, man. It hurts. The only way you do it is to change it. Change it.
Yeah, because even and look, man, you can see the improvement from where we were before in those big games. That's the one thing that gives me a lot of hope, because we've been right there with some of those teams, most of those teams. And then the games where we did win, unfortunately, Notre Dame wasn't good enough at the time to make it a needle mover like against Clemson a couple years ago. Or when we beat USC had already lost a couple games, or lost a game. So
yeah,
that's the other problem, is that if they would have won those games when those teams were undefeated, or they were really good, and that's why the Ohio State one was such a killer. But it's weird. It sucks. It's like, oh God, 10 men on the field. How can you lose that way? But at the same time, you're also like, wow, it took us to have 10 men on the field and, this and that to lose in the last play of the game. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I just feel this thing changing. I feel this thing getting better and better. And now we're into the next level of that. And we're going to see what happens, man.
Yeah.
There's going to be, I'm telling you, there's going to be a stinker. There's going to be a stinker this year. I don't think it's going to be, like I said, Kelly's found a way to, even when the teams don't come to play, there's still some competitiveness there. It's not Freeman does.
Here's my response to this. Oh, this is good. This is good. Check this out.
There's going to be a stinker, though, John. There's going to be one you hate.
But fine. Here's my argument. Alabama, under Saban, has one or two clunkers, stinkers. Okay, you're not up at all. The other team's going nuts. Georgia is in some games where they play like crap for 3.5 quarters. You can have stinkers, but you got to win them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like Georgia, there's a game or two every year Georgia absolutely sleeps through because they're not even interested in the other team's on fire, but like playing with their hearts on fire. You could have a stinker. You got to be good enough to win it and just get through that week and it doesn't ruin you and then move along. And that's what talent does. The more talent you have, the more leeway you have to sleepwalk through a game, be tired from the week before, not have your heads in it. You have bad luck one game. The more talent you have, the more likely it is you could survive your off weeks. Georgia always does this, where there's a game against somebody they have no business even being in, and then by the end, they make enough plays and they end up winning it.
So I think a lot of reason for that, like you said, it's talent. It's the depth of the talent. Because what will happen is, I think a lot of those games where you see them sleepwalking, it's guys who are starters who, we're playing this team now, and then maybe by the second, third quarter, they decide to bring in the backups that really want to play and want to show their mettle, and because they're talented, they're playing with like a fire's lit under their ass, and then they make a few plays, and then the guys that were benched, now they're pissed they're benched. They want to get back in the game and prove their mettle. You know what I mean? And then as the game gets into the fourth quarter, they pull away. That's kind of how that works. Whereas in Notre Dame's case, got a lot of talent we've accumulated, among the best in the country, but not still at the very, very, very top end as of yet. So it's a little harder to bring in, a second, third string guy and expect him to perform up to level. I still say the scheduling of that Louisville game was on the worst. I don't think a lot of teams come out of that stretch. Yeah. Maybe some teams find a way to win that game, but there's no way a team comes into that Louisville game after what Notre Dame went through before and still plays well.
Excuses, Rodney. There's no excuses. Excuses.
Why put yourself in a bad position, John?
Don't get me started. Don't.
Making excuses. So I'm just going to put the hardest schedule in the world against them, and that's stupid too, though. You still got schedule smart. Look at Michigan. They had it right. Okay, we're going to just take 8 games, make them the easiest games ever, and then we'll put 4 tough ones in the end when we're ready to go.
Bro. Anybody, I know what this is. It's like, I'm Captain Jack Swarbrick, and I am about to retire. And you know what one of my last moves is going to be? Making the football team play 2 months in a row with no breaks and on another continent. That's going to help my new young coach pull it all together. And I'm going to march out loud and proud. Bro, what are you doing? Oh, we got to go to Dublin. Did you see how many Notre Dame fans were there? Yeah, and I'd rather win a game. Than everybody drinks in downtown Dublin. But no, you scheduled 2 months of games in a row. Yeah. You scheduled 8 games in a row.
I don't got a problem with you. I don't have a problem going to Dublin beginning of the year. But if that affects your bye, and you're going to put that slate of games then as leading up to. It'd be one thing if they, after the Ohio State game, they schedule 3 games against, I don't know, pick your team, but not Louisville and Duke. Maybe they didn't know Duke and Louisville were going to be good at the time. I guess I don't know, man. It's just That was just bad. That was a bad set of circumstances. And yeah, I'm not saying we should have played as bad as we did. But, so if we lose the game by 3, does that make it a little better? Well, probably, but you still don't feel good about the loss. So, John, there's going to be a stinker this year. There's probably going to be another game where we don't play very well, but we win. But there's going to be one that, either we don't have any business losing or we don't have any business playing the way we did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's I don't know. You got to figure it out, man.
Even me setting myself up for playoff expectations will say that. I still believe they're not to the point yet where they're ready to go undefeated.
Here's the thing.
Freeman is working out these kinks, and they're getting better and better and better. And things that were a problem last year, he's probably going to fix. And there's still going to be a couple are going to leave fans a little miffed, but saying, okay, but this was really heading in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just feel that. I feel that there's going to be one. There's at least going to be one game where we're just like, okay, if we had that game back, we'd be this level or whatever. It's going to happen. It may be the kind of game that keeps us out of having a home game. You know what I'm saying? For the playoffs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We get in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I got a feeling that's what's coming, is that we're going to get in, but there's going to be that one game. If that hadn't happened, we would be hosting a home game. I bet we're going to be saying this next year.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. You're going to have games where you're flat or the other team's hot or you have it's not going your way. You got to just be good enough to grind through that and win it. You can have an off day. You got to be good enough to win it on your bad day. That's my point.
Andrew,
that's my point.
Andrew, I guess I'm saying this chat. Dude, come on, use logic. You know how this works. It's like the same team that plays one team on Saturday. Is that the same team that plays another team on Saturday? Don't talk yourself out. Don't act like you're not don't understand college football by putting that up there. You know the reason for that. Because it was Notre Dame. Louisville was ready to go. Once they played Pitt, they didn't give a crap anymore. Okay? It's that simple. What were we just talking about? We were just talking about teams not being up for games. You're saying that Pitt's not, or Louisville's not capable of that? Come on.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, the answer to your own question. Why you ask? You're smarter than that.
Yeah. Man, I get it. People are frustrated. I totally get it. But it's just, man, I don't know. We need to bring this all full circle. We need to pull it on the other side, and we need to get everybody on board here. And you got to believe. Lou Alt said you got to believe. Well, every time we believed, I've been deceived. Okay, so I understand. I understand why Notre Dame fans are freaked out.
I'm going to end the call with a quote from Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Everything is gonna be fine.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
If you say so. Have a good one. Thank you. Good talking to you. See ya. Oh, man. All right. So we're blaming the schedule for getting our butt kicks against Louisville. Andrew, you're a smart guy. I know you know what I'm trying to describe. But for whatever reason, you're just not having it. But I know you know what I'm trying to describe. I'm not blaming the schedule, but you also set yourself up to have a rougher time than you needed to. You did that. You made your own life harder by scheduling 8 games in a row with no break and one across in another continent. And that makes life hard. It's not an excuse. It doesn't make it okay to lay an egg against Louisville. But you didn't help yourself as an institution with the part you can control. Not scheduling 2 months of games in a row to start the year, 4 night games in a row against undefeated teams, and you're paddling a boat to Ireland and back. I'm just saying it doesn't set yourself up. That's not a schedule that sets yourself up for success. and you put yourself in a bad spot. Here's the other part. Andrew, I know you know this. As much as you think and follow college football, I know you know this. College football is so much about vibe and emotion and like where your needle's at entering each game. That is why we love college football, is that emotional ride up and down and all the momentum and the energy on the field, in between the games, over the weeks, fans talking back and forth, building up a moment, building up a game, leading into it, whatever. Emotions and that momentum and the vibe of your football team as it grows and wanes and picks up and dies off and picks back up over the course of a year. That's a part of why that sport means so much to everybody as we ride that wave. Louisville didn't take Pitt seriously. They're terrible, but Louisville overlooked them and they were messing around, sleepwalking, and they got beat. But when Louisville was undefeated, hosting Notre Dame at night at their place, that got their attention. It's totally different. It's just a night and day thing. Like, all these games are almost in a vacuum. Look at it this way. Sometimes the way I see it is all of these games are kind of insulated on their own in that week, on that Saturday, in that moment, and that's where they live. And they're all different, and every game has its own feel. Louisville was geeked to the gills for Notre Dame. They were 100% ready, had all their focus on it. The fans were ready. They were undefeated. They were playing good. They didn't expect to have that good of a start to the year. They had every single thing every single box checked as far as momentum in that game. And you knew it before the game even, like, you knew it during the week. On Twitter, I knew it. It's a Tuesday morning on Twitter leading into the game, and it was a dumpster fire with the Louisville. Like, I'm like, dude, this is going to be bad. Like, you could just see it. You could tell it was just going to be one of those things, and we weren't ready for it. But all these games are almost in a vacuum. And no one wants to hear this. No one wants to admit it's true. No one wants to, but you need to admit that it's true. Notre Dame really does get everybody's best shot. Everybody wants to beat Notre Dame. Nobody gives a rat's ass about Pitt and Narduzzi, that man-child crybaby. Nobody cares about them. Nobody looks at their season and go, oh my God, Pitt's on the schedule. We got to circle that one. Said nobody ever. Who cares about Pitt? Notre Dame's on the schedule? Well, that's a big deal. That moves the needle. That's one you want to invest in, right? I just see that as being a different thing. See it as being a different thing. So I don't know. Central Michigan was a better team than Pitt. For Louisville to lose them, it means they aren't any good. If Louisville was a legitimate team, Pitt beat Louisville by 17. I don't look at it that way. You're going to look at it in that. Apparently, you're not on the same page with me, because what you just said ignores my whole monologue. You're ignoring the whole part of it's about the belief in what you're doing entering that week. And those guys were flying high. They were flying high with 100% confidence and juice and everything, and the fans were in on it. And then you juxtapose that with what Notre Dame was coming out of. The most painful loss you could, an unbelievable loss. That Ohio State ending, you know what that is? That's almost a situation where I could see it being a movie like Varsity Blues or whatever. It was so bad. I could see that being a movie about like college or high school football, like Varsity Blues or something. And then they lose that, like, or a new coach and everybody's giving him a hard time. And then he has that moment. And I'd be like, that's almost too impossible to believe. Like, that's outrageous. That would never happen. Like, when you add in where Louisville was at in their minds and in their emotions and everything heading into the game and where Notre Dame was, it was just night and day. We were leaking oil. We were beat up. We needed a break. We didn't have. You went through that painful loss, almost lost to Duke. Like, we had nothing left in the tank. I'm just saying that you can't blame the schedule. You have to win the games you got to win, but signing up on purpose for 8 straight weeks with no bye and leaving the country is asking for a problem. It's asking for a problem. That's what you're doing when you sign up and go, yeah, that looks good to me. 2 months in a row with no break and going overseas. We'll be good. No, bad idea. Bad idea. And the other thing is, Louisville didn't sneak up on us. Every single person in Notre Dame land that does media had Duke and Louisville circled last year. Watch out, it's going to be a nightmare. And guess what? Both games were kind of a nightmare. Kind of a nightmare. And you got away with the Duke one. Barely. Barely you got away with the Duke one. And so I don't know. There is, you can schedule yourself into some problems. You know, I'm not blaming that. I'm just saying it was not a good situation. Now, I do wonder this. I would like you guys to chat whether you agree with this or not. If Notre Dame beat Ohio State, do you think, how would that have changed things? Because for Duke and then for Louisville, but we had 11 guys on the field or handed the ball to Estime and ran the clock out, whatever. How does that change things? Physically, you would be exhausted as a team still coming out of that stretch. But you would have that win in your pocket, the kind that we don't get. And would the emotional boost of that win be able to supersede the physical issues of being drained and tired from the Ireland thing and whatever, all these teams we play, or physical, whatever it is? Would you end up in a similar situation? I always wonder that. So I don't know. Some people are saying no. Like, I just wonder if you have the emotion of like, oh my God, we won. Like, if the high of that emotional high of winning the Ohio State game would be able to propel you and push you through the physical stuff they were going through, being worn out and tired and all that. I don't know whether it would or not. I don't know. But my big thing with this, Andrew, is if you're going to do the transitive property thing of like, this team's better than that team, but this team beat this team, so then that team must be better than this team, I think Notre Dame throws that theory out because of the way everybody looks at wanting to beat Notre Dame. Like, Louisville doesn't look at Pitt the way they look at Notre Dame. I just think they're different things, man. Like, everybody's ready to go for Notre Dame. Everybody's ready to go for Notre Dame. The good teams definitely want to beat Notre Dame. The average teams want to beat Notre Dame. And the bad teams really want to beat Notre Dame because it's all they're going to have. And they know Notre Dame's not looking at them on the schedule when you know what I mean? And worrying about them. That's where you sneak up. They would still lose to Duke and Louisville. The offense was brutal both weeks anyways. It certainly was. And you know what? I don't think this isn't a troll job. I don't think this is a troll job. There are still people that are like, Bro, you ran Parker out of town, and it was the number 2 scoring offense Notre Dame's ever had, 39.5 points a game, and you ran him out of town. It was the second highest point total ever, and you want to run that out of town. Yeah, I want to run that out of town because I'm not gauging Notre Dame on how many points they score against Central Michigan and Navy. I'm not. It's Ohio State. It's Louisville. It's Clemson. Like, that's the issue I have. The bar cannot be, are you piling it on Central Michigan enough to pad your stats so when you have no output against good teams, it balances out the average? That can't be your calculus. That can't be the calculation. Like, those can't be the inputs in the equation. We need to be past judging how good Notre Dame's offense is on what they do against bad teams. Can't be the bar. The reality is, in the 3 games you lost, you averaged 19 points, and that's just not enough to beat a good football team. It ain't. And so that's something that I want us to think about. Like, I'm appreciative that you had no problem scoring against Navy, and it was game 1, and we were all excited. I get it. But that ain't the bar. It's not the bar. So you're not lying when you say to me, John, it was the second highest scoring average in Notre Dame football history since like the 20s or whatever Newt Rockney was running when he was riding a Model T around town. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, look at this. Oh, there's some irony here. This is some irony. Why would I just come on here telling lies? Why would I come on here and tell lies? That you accuse me. Why would you do it? Why would I do it? You accuse me of it once a week. Unbelievable. Yeah. It's a problem. Louisville was geeked, and we treated them like scrimmage, tinkering with the O-line during the game. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Yep. One of the things I'm looking at this year, output, is how I'm going to gauge this year. How many points you scoring against the real teams? Spare me how many points you're scoring against all these horrible teams, whatever. We need to be past that being the bar. In the games against the real teams, what is your scoring average? Needs to be about 10 or 12 more than it was last year, for sure, at a minimum. 19? You're not beating good college football teams scoring 19 points. It just ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. So I don't know. The Wookiee of the year, Caleb Williams. That's funny. You guys are creative. Man, you guys are creative. Unbelievable. 707. I must be in heaven. What is going on?
Hey, John, it looks like you're struggling to get some callers, so I figured I'd call in. It's been a while.
What's going on, buddy? I was just about to go. We got a couple. On a Monday, you never know what you're going to get on a Monday, man. People are trying to pull their lives back together after the weekend.
Yeah, I know. I had a bong hangover, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, anyway, I'm listening to you. Did you get downsized or something? You started off, I joined a little late. You were talking about not working at some place anymore or something?
Oh, yeah. They were just talking about me leaving a comfortable corporate job to come yell about football. That's what they were talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think you found your niche, like you definitely, you wear your Notre Dame self on your sleeve, and that's what I think a lot of people relate to. That's how it got me, because I was getting tired of Kelly, like way before everybody was, because I just saw that he couldn't do anything in big games. And then here we go and get these two quarterbacks in a row from the transfer portal who can't do anything in the big games. You know, a guy was such a letdown that last year. What's his name?
Oh, Sammy boy, the Bachelor, the next Bachelor.
Right. And I think, like, because he came from the ACC, I think he had somewhat intimidation by some of those teams that he played. And so you didn't see a good outing from him. But it also is the fact that he just was not that great. Like, he might have been good for a team like Louisville. Or where'd he come from? Duke. Where'd he come from?
Yeah, Duke. It's Hartman, Wake,
Leonard.
Wake. And then, Leonard, Duke.
Yeah. And, like, the level there is not so strong. But in my opinion, the ACC is, all these basketball teams are now becoming better football teams. So, as much as all these other Big Ten and SEC like to rag on the ACC, the fact is their middle grade teams have been improving to upper levels. Like, they're playing better than they always have traditionally. So I think that you have to take that into account at some aspect when Notre Dame plays. And just like you said, everyone brings their best. It's been forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think I'm still I'm not on full board with is it Riley Leonard?
Yep.
Is that his name, the quarterback? I know you're saying he's going to be the quarterback, and I'm not actually looking forward to that. I don't think that he's what I've seen from Angeli. He reminds me of Rick Meyer, and you don't remember him probably, but he was a good coach or a good quarterback that did just enough to win. Like, he didn't hurt you to lose like Tommy Reed, but he did just enough to win without hurting the team, and he could run when he needed to. He could throw when he needed to. And so that's the kind of guy I see in Angeli. And I know that, like that kid behind him.
Which one?
What's his name?
Carr? Minchie?
No.
Deuce?
The next one up. No, Deuce. No.
Didn't I name them
Deuce
all?
McAllister.
Deuce McAllister.
What?
Deuce McAllister. The deuce is loose.
If you heard me last call, I haven't called for a while because that room was ragging on me for saying that. But I laughed after I said his name. Obviously, that wasn't the right guy. But anyway, the guy behind him, the quarterback behind
Minchie. There you go.
The guy did good in that spring ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
it was good.
Man, it's really interesting. Nobody wanted to leave, too. It's really, really interesting to me. None of those guys decided to leave after spring. I think Riley Leonard being out created more opportunity for everybody else to get involved. And none of them wanted to leave. So we're going to see what's going to happen because I see flashes in all these guys that I appreciate. I really do.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the big takeaway with the quarterback room is there's more competition and more upside and more guys to bring different things to the table that all help Notre Dame win. And it's a big upgrade what they're doing at quarterback right now. And we're not even to the point where we're seeing the rewards of it. But they're building a totally different room, a different way. And I'm here for it 100%.
Yeah. And, Minchie and Angeli, they're both like looking at this opportunity that Leonard wound up sitting out of as being able to show themselves, and they both did, and that's why I think they're sticking because they think that they have a serious shot. And Gaduli's probably playing it smart by saying, guys know where they are on the depth chart, by just their play, and so he's not giving anything away. And I'm hoping that he'll be able to look at and be able to eat that money. If it is Leonard not showing up as being great, like we just don't know yet. Like he showed himself pretty good when Notre Dame played him, but Notre Dame beat him, and they had Notre Dame's defense was number 5 rated in the country last year. That's pretty good, and they wound up hurting him and taking him out of the game, and winning the game. But I'm looking forward to being able to see a good quarterback competition this year with no guarantees on anybody because from what I took out of that blue gold game, I liked the way Minchie played. Like he started off a little bit shaky, and then all of a sudden he fell.
He got better. Yeah, he did get better as the game went on. He looked more comfortable as it went on.
Yeah, he looked like he could run it just every bit as good as Leonard.
So let me ask you this. I have not talked to you. It was midwinter. According to my call log, it was midwinter when you called last. So we have not spoken through the spring. Now that we're into summer, what are you most concerned about? Like if you're sitting there and you have Notre Dame worries, like what's sticking out to you after seeing spring that has you a little nervous, or your confidence? I think you're going to say the defense. I think we all feel like they're going to be pretty good. But what are you nervous about? For me, it's that offensive line more than anything else. It's my number one thing. Number one by far.
Yeah.
Number two ain't even on the list compared to number one.
And you're right. Because there's two guys that were there that aren't first and second round picks. So, you're losing two tackles. But then again, the recruiting we've had and the recruiting that's coming in, I think we're going to be okay, especially because of our showing. And yes, the cupboard was bare with Oregon State on defense. But then again, our offensive line just coming together, you can't discount that. I mean, they pounded those guys, and those guys were, a bowl team. So
yeah,
we looked pretty darn good with what we had. And so I'm feeling a little, it just won't be able to tell until you see what our quarterback does, because that's what runs Notre Dame season.
And then here's the other thing, man. The other thing is, there's no way for me to downplay how massive week one is. In a practical college football playoff hopeful way, and equally in a perceptual way of how Notre Dame is looked at around the country. Like I'm the emotional guy and I'm always, everything's a big deal, but it really is this time. I don't feel like I'm exaggerating. It's a big moment for Freeman. It's a big, big moment for Freeman right out of the gate.
And it's a big moment for Elko, So Elko's coming to this team. He's already knows Notre Dame's, team. And so he's coming to a team. Notre Dame's got to travel there where they have the 12th fan, and it's going to be blistering hot.
Yep.
It's going to be, and they have a quarterback that's very good.
When he's healthy.
Just based on,
dude, this guy called it. Who is it? Connor Wigman, right? Came off that injury. Pretty good, went healthy. I think they like him. This guy called me from Texas the other week, and he was like, John, just so you know, every day of the month of August was 109 degrees or hot. Texas A&M is. He not one day it got to that. He goes every single day registered over 109 or something. So our guys better be ready, man. You better be ready. You can't run out of gas in the third quarter, week one. That's going to be a battle.
Really? I mean,
it's going to be a battle against the elements, man.
That's right. And it's going to be I would sit there and look at my depth chart and say, okay, who's from Texas that can play?
Yeah.
That's used to it.
But man,
it's going to be insane.
He was like, no, John, you don't understand. It's not like Illinois where for a few days in the summer, it's over 100 and it's on the news. He goes, it was 30 days in a row where it was 104 and higher or something. I'm like, man, so it's a big moment. And listen, man, I understand that some people have Freeman anxiety. I really do.
I don't.
I don't
get it.
I can understand it from the scar tissue mindset because I was in that position with Kelly for a long time. And you hedge emotionally and lean to the negative to protect yourself, to not get excited and get your little heart broke. I've been that guy. I understand that. I'm just saying I needed different after Kelly, and it's being built different and it's being looked at different. And some of the ways they're trying to do things is different. And there's a lot of thought put into it and work put into it. That excites me. I'm here for that journey because it is being built different. And what you need to see is Marcus Freeman's vision good enough to get us to a different level than the last guy? And we don't know yet. But I do like that I see that they're approaching it differently. And that's what I needed after 12 years of the last guy.
Well, that's the positive, really positive thing about Freeman that, we don't hit upon a lot, but it's just what he's done as far as coaching and who he's brought in, and, having a quarterback coach and having a named guy on defensive coordinator and an offensive coordinator. Like, he's really with Mickens, and the only question mark is really this Brown, who's the wide receiver coach, in my opinion. I think everyone else, Joseph, what's his name? The offensive line coach?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's really an underestimated thing of what Freeman's been able to do. So, not only, you have these superior offensive or coaching staff, but now you're getting these recruits that are making you so deep that they're going to have a hard time trying to trim down the list to 85. They didn't do anything on the bringing guys in off of transfers because they are just so deep, and these guys are all anxious to play. So I love that they didn't have to go out and look for an offensive lineman. I mean, that tells me a lot about what they feel about this offensive line that they have. And that's a damn good thing, because when you can continue keeping the offensive line play and quality of players coming in, I think that's going to be the deciphering point of the trend for Notre Dame. Like, if they can keep this up, like we're seeing that running backs like to come here. I mean, we're loaded at running back. And I hope he sees the field a lot more than Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love. I guess these guys are fantastic. I have no doubt about that.
Payne is the least thought of guy of that group, and he looked great in the spring game. He was moving quicker, looked like he slimmed down, he looked shiftier to me, and he might be the least touted guy in that whole group. And I might even include, compared to the freshman recruits coming in out of that class, and he looked really good to me. Looked better than he did last year.
Well, he looked good last year. They just never had time to give him a ball. They had estimated Love and Price. I mean, how do you give this guy some time? And but the running back coach, McCullough, that's another great coach, and he brought him over from Indiana, I think, and he believed in him, and I'm seeing it. Like, he reminded me of, you don't remember, but Lou Holtz had Anthony Johnson as a fullback, and he reminds me totally of him. Like, I wouldn't mind Denbrock bringing in a two-back offense. Forget all these tight ends, but let's see what Jabron Payne can bring with being a blocking back, or having the option of giving him on a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 2. Like, I see Payne getting those yards just like Anthony Johnson used to get. But that's long ago. But I just like Payne, and I want to see him see the field a little bit more. But like, we have this guy, what is it, Kedron Young or something, another kid that's like fantastic.
And Aeneas Williams did not look. He did not look like a freshman body frame when I saw him in the blue and gold game. It kind of stood out to me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy should be in high school getting ready for prom right now. Like, listen, man, I see these changes. But I understand certain people aren't going to believe until they see the results, and that's fine. But I do just wish they would acknowledge the effort difference. Like, that doesn't result in wins, but I see so many areas where it's just totally different. But people aren't going to believe it till they get the results on the field. So I guess I got to respect that.
Well, that's the more surprising package that I thought that didn't transfer was running back, because that's more loaded than the quarterback area. You know, like, these guys, how did they all stay? Like, how did he keep them all?
I think that's the deepest group on the team. Hear me out here. Hear me out. I heard somebody talking about this who's connected with the NFL, and with these running backs, they have like a calculation, and a running back has a certain amount of hits and snaps in them over the course of their career. And it's a unique thing with running back usage over time. And a lot of times they'll tell these guys, we're using a rotation of backs, 3 and 4 guys going to be in the mix because we want to keep you all fresh and keep your snap counts down. And that's a modern way of like a running back rotation where they're like everybody is going to get less carries to maximize the ones they do get, like kind of idea. Getting away from like, you have one back, you're going to feed it to him 22 times a game or whatever. And apparently guys are okay with that. Here's the other thing too. I think Love is he's going to be involved in the short and medium pass game a lot this year. And I fully expect him to be utilized running the ball. Maybe JD Price is more your every down type traditional back. And then they're going to try and get Love matched up in space and do all sorts of things in the short pass game, that kind of thing. And I'm excited. Love's going to have a breakout year. Calling in now.
Yeah, he's certainly ready. You know, like we've seen him, I guess, 2 years now. Like as a freshman, he really shown up, you know, like when he got a chance. And so, yeah, I think that last year he was behind Audric. And so, you know, like this year is his chance to really be the go-to guy, just like Audric was. And just like Williams was, Kyron Williams the year before. Yeah, they're going to need that, but you know, just the fact that they have so many, and like you said, like the average running back in the NFL, maybe 3 or 4 years at the most.
Yeah,
and so like by not playing every day and grueling and grinding, you know, you can be fresh for the NFL, and if you show, you know, your tapes are going to show, and then you're, you know, showing up at the NFL combines and all what that brings out, and so you know, it just amazes me that we've been able to keep everyone no one transferred, you know, like,
yeah,
I'm really happy.
And you know what? Listen, certainly I'm not going to discount the Notre Dame degree. 248, I got you next. I'm never going to discount the Notre Dame degree as a reason for guys wanting to stick around. That as obvious back end benefits. But you also need to say it must be a pretty healthy culture if all those guys want to be a part of it, even if it doesn't even look like they're going to start. I see people be like, no, it's just Notre Dame. People want the degree. Notre Dame's degree's been Notre Dame's degree for a long time, and a lot of people used to leave. You got to give them some credit for the culture build here, right?
Yeah. And you know what I think too is Harbaugh, you know, going down to San Diego, I think he's going to use a 2-back running back offense. You know, like he's old school. He's a creative guy. He's a little bit, you know, wild, but he's a very good coach, and he knows offenses. So I have a feeling he's going to use 2 backs, like depending on if they have that quality to get that. But yeah, there's room in the NFL for running backs. I don't think that'll ever go away. It just depends on the coaches and how they like to utilize 1 or 2 backs. You know, I think it could come back. You never know.
Yeah.
But I want to say one last thing, John, before I go. When I last called, which you said was midwinter or so, I was criticizing Deuce Knight, right? And I still feel that way. Like now it's coming out, other people are saying this about him, but you know, like when I saw his tapes, he was he quarterbacked a team that went 5-5, you know? So, I mean, like his numbers were not fantastic. And when I saw his highlight tapes, I mean, those were highlight tapes, and I just wasn't that impressed. Like, you know, if Gaduli can work with him and he's got the maturity to handle coaching and criticizing and getting him better.
Yeah.
Because what I saw was slow feet. I didn't see a real good athlete out there. I saw a guy that took a long time to get to the position he needed to throw, like the play where he's supposed to be to throw. And I saw a long windup, and I saw like not great things, you know, like this is a 5-5 quarterback. You know, how great is he going to be? So if I look at CJ Carr's highlight tapes in high school as opposed to Deuce Young, CJ Carr is so far ahead of him. So it's really going to be what the coach can do, what Gaduli can do with him, and how he reacts to the criticism, and does he want to get better? Like, I'm just hoping that he's got a good relationship and can take it, because it's not going to be easy to try and be a quarterback at Notre Dame, especially with a guy that you're following, TJ Carr. Like, you're going to have to be a pretty patient guy with your skill set compared to his if you want to see anything. So
it's going to be interesting. And it is a new route. It's a new route for a quarterback for Notre Dame. And I'm excited to see something different. You might be pleasantly surprised. So go get an athlete, and then you believe in your offensive coaches, and you just see what you could do. So I don't know, man, but thanks for giving me a call.
Yeah, I like him.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah. I like having him on board, and we'll see how long he stays once he sees, where he sits behind CJ Carr, because I just am totally enamored with CJ Carr. That kid is just going to be lights out, and I haven't seen that since Clausen, since Paulus. These kind of great quarterbacks at Notre Dame. You have the recent history anyway.
Yeah.
And by recent, I'm talking about, 25 years.
Yeah. Oh, man.
They've been terrible.
Yep.
All right. That's it.
Hey,
Thanks,
thank
John.
you. I really appreciate it. It's good to hear from you again, man. Thank you. Have a good week.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Dude, you guys are jerks. I got a relationship outside of the show with that guy. He hasn't called since February. I'm going to give him some more time. And if, sorry, it's my show. I missed the guy. I have a relationship with him outside of the show. And then he disengaged for a while, and now he wants to come back. And I want to give him some time because I miss talking to him. Jesus, rough crowd. Unbelievable. $10 holler from my main man, Martinez, the Irish felon. Johnny, you've always gave Payne credit, respect. I got to tell you, man, he was a lot more. He just looked a lot better. He just looked a lot better in the spring than I remember him looking physically, the way he moved, whatever. Anders says, I agree. The caller's a good guy. And I know the guy we talk outside of the show. Like, I have a relationship with him, and he hasn't called since February. I want to give him some time. And you know what? That's what happens when it's your show, bro. You can do that. So whatever. Back off. The other thing is, I'll let you know, as soon as I get a call screener and a producer and an audio guy and an editor, then we'll be able to hammer this all out and do it different. But while I'm doing it alone, give me a break. What is it, Adam Sandler? Yeah, well, it was hard for me, so back off. Oh, boy. 248, I'm coming to you. Oh, man. Bro, win a playoff game or fire Freeman, hire Saban or Urban. At least you put I'm delusional. At least you put I'm delusional. The concept of Nick Saban trying to recruit to Notre Dame is very interesting. Could you imagine? I wonder how that would go. Oh, that's funny. God, that's good. I don't have sources in the program. I can only look at the recruiting rankings and the old game film. And even that's not enough. Even that's not enough. Notre Dame's ranked number 1 in 2025, and it's like, boo, this class blows. RKGs, nobody can do anything to rank number 1, and it's like, this class sucks. Boo. Kelly was over there recruiting 6 of me's on each side of the ball for 10 years, and you're over here ripping Freeman because the number 1 ranked class right now isn't high enough for you. Oh my God, John, you're the guy who says, wait till signing day, we drop 10 spots. I understand that. But how much you going to complain about it while you're number one? You can complain about that on signing day when we drop like a rock to the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, like the time I almost died and got ate by a shark snorkeling. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Johnny drowning in the ocean, sharks below, nobody around, nobody to help. The coast getting further and further away, and John thought he was going to die. That's the deal. That's the deal. You're just... We can just never make everybody happy here. Did you watch that Meg movie? Yeah, I did. It was, there's been a few of them, but like a little unrealistic, but like in concept, I did appreciate that movie. There are people that still swear there's megalodons that exist, but they're like so far, like 6 miles down in the ocean or something. But there are scientists that claim there's evidence that there is like a megalodon still, but it's probably so deep in the ocean we can't even like find it and don't have the what we need to get down there. I don't know, bro. Dude, Troy, that's a whole nother story. I literally almost died. And it was not ideal. And I got talked into like snorkeling, and I'm like, whatever, dude. Bro, snorkeling to me means like when you're at a resort or like a all-inclusive, and then you go in like a flat part of a reef and there ain't waves and all these currents and it's like a low-key thing and you just doggy paddle your dumbass out there and look at it. Oh no, oh, there's a colorful fish. Cool, dude. Hope I don't get Steve Irwin through the aorta. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking snorkeling in San Diego. Cool, man. We'll just doggy paddle around, look at some colorful fish or whatever. Bro, they literally just, you go to a store by the beach in San Diego and then they go, here's your gear. Be back in 4 hours. The ocean's a block that way. Good luck. What? And then you get out there, it's straight waves. I'm getting water in my blowhole. How could you breathe? I was completely confused, and all the people I was with must be in the Olympics because they're out there swimming their heart out to some cove where it's peaceful 8 miles. I looked like Tom Hanks. I'm over here. I seriously, it looked like it's 80 miles away where they went to go to. I couldn't even get to where you were supposed to go snorkel. There's 8 miles ocean there. All these people left. Oh, they all left. They didn't even know I was left behind. My flipper fell off, water in my blowhole. Then I'm choking, and then there's sharks underneath. Never again. Never in a million years. Never again. I'm never snorkeling again. I don't need to. I don't want to. I don't care. I look stupid and feel dumb in a wetsuit. What do I look like in a wetsuit? An anorexic seal? Give me a break. And I almost died, man. I was choking in that water. It was going on. Every breath, it's more water. And then my flipper came off and I couldn't flip nowhere. And then the sharks are underneath me. What of them ones look like tiger shark? The ones with, it looks like a leopard print. I'll never forget it. I looked down and it was like they're 4 or 5 foot long, like the ones that look like a leopard with those spots kind of down there moving around. All my people were out there just having a relaxing day in the ocean. Here I am fighting for my stupid life. Then, here's what I did, man. I'm literally, like, I'm struck. There was a moment where I'm like, okay, I'm not breathing. I'm taking in way too much water. I'm getting a little overwhelmed here. I'm from Illinois. Not an ocean guy. And, oh, yeah, leopard sharks in La Jolla, they're harmless. Yeah, well, they didn't look harmless to me. Just call me Quint. Didn't look harmless to me, okay? And here's what I did. This might have saved me. All my people were gone. I don't know. They had no problem getting wherever we were, and I'm out there alone. And here's what I think saved me, bro. The water was clear. It was like right off the coast, San Diego, whatever. And you could see through the water. It was pretty clear, more clear than the Atlantic is when I'm on that side in Florida. And it was way too deep where, like, we're not talking 50 feet off the shore. Like, we were out there where there ain't no standing on the bed of the ocean. That ain't going to happen. There was a huge boulder. When I say a huge boulder, I mean like an 8-foot tall and round boulder in the water. And what I did, the leopard sharks meet to mate in San Diego. Yeah, well, good for them. Get a room and get away from me. Anyways, the boulder, I'm hacking out water. I'm choking. I got both my stupid flippers are backwards and wouldn't go on. I paid all that money for my wetsuit. My flippers are coming loose. I couldn't doggy paddle. Waves going in your blowhole in my little tube. I needed a minute to collect my breath and hack out this salt water. You know what I mean? I'm trying to work my flipper, but I got to breathe, and I think it's air, but a wave goes over your blowhole. Then you're breathing air, and then it's water. That rock saved me, I think, because the waves would, you know how it is. The waves come. Oh, I'm laughing so hard. Yeah, Roger Dodger, go for it. Hang 10, buddy. I ain't from out your way, dude. I ain't an ocean guy, man. I ain't an ocean guy. And you know how when the waves come and then the water's, less deep when the wave goes by. And then when you ride the wave up, I was able to put my tiptoes on that rock in between the waves when they went down and there was that lull. I was just able to go down and kind of rest the top of my foot on that in the same spot a couple cycles enough to be able to breathe. And then that's where those sharks were. You're telling a guy from Illinois, oh, those sharks are harmless. Don't worry about it, John. Bro, that doesn't work for me. No. 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 Oh, boy. Andrew, that's ugly. Anyways, all my people are gone. My girlfriend, everybody's gone. They went where you could just swim her, and nobody recognized John was nowhere to be found. Nobody cares. Nobody cares where John's at. Could have been Titanic. Nobody cared. I'm like Leonardo DiCaprio, just going to the bottom. Ooh, I'm sinking in the bottom of the... Nobody cared. Nobody noticed. Girlfriend, none of the people we're with even noticed I was gone, apparently. So good for them having the day of their life. So I look like an idiot. I'm hacking up water. I look like an anorexic seal in this stupid black wetsuit. My flippers don't work. My blowhole isn't helping. I finally just get it together enough and I ride kind of the waves in and whatever. And I get to the beach and we have all of our crap sitting somewhere. I swear to God, there's right where our stuff is on the beach. When I come out looking like, I looked like the castaway, man. I was not in good shape. I was traumatized. We get up there. I get up there just to go lay down and take a minute. And right next to where our stuff is, There's 5 European girls in thongs sitting right there just giggling and having a day at the beach. Why in the hell did I go into this death trap when I could have just sat my ass on the beach and hung out with them all day? But no, here I am out there treading water in the deep blue ocean. What an idiot. Never again. So I don't mess with this stupid ass ocean, none of this shit. You go in there, when I go to Florida and it's 800 degrees, it's hot on the beach, and then I walk only up to my knees, and you do the whole like kneel down in the waves so it gets you wet, and then I'm out of there. I ain't for the ocean. I ain't for the ocean. But it was the ultimate sign to me when I dragged when my carcass washed to shore, looking like a mermaid with a genetic disorder. When that happened and I wash up, I see all these European girls and their thongs and their, this and that. I'm like, what am I doing? Why even bother with any of this? Who needs it? Who needs it? And you know, man, John, what about the experience of everything you missed by not being able to go snorkeling? That's what YouTube's for. I don't need to go out there and die. YouTube, show me some snorkeling crap. Unbelievable. I just couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe it. Who goes? I'm like, where do you snorkel at? Is there like a kiddie pool where they pull some of the rainbow fish? No, you just go over there. The Pacific Ocean in all of its glories right down the street. Good luck. Oh, there's a cove out there where it's nice and calm. Yeah, 9 miles offshore. What are you talking about? There's a cove out there. What, a cove? What do you mean? A cove. Oh, you mean that thing 18 miles out there I could barely see? Awesome, yeah. How am I going to get there? What am I going to do? The backstroke? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Guess we're going to skip scuba diving for old shipwrecks. Dodger, I might do that. I just did all of this rant. And now I'm telling you, I might do that because I'm into that treasure hunting stuff. I'm into that. Like, you ever see where the old shipwrecks are and there's all the gold in the bottom and all the stuff is still in it? You got to find it. That intrigues me. But at least that's for money. At least that's where we're trying to make some money with it, not just going out there for the hell of it. It says, Always Irish Senior, where was you? He was not there, man. This was me and my girlfriend. Her brother lived in San Diego. He was a wildfire firefighter. That was his job. He was a wildfire firefighter specifically in San Diego, and he would travel wherever the wildfires were all summer and put them out. We go out there from Illinois. I don't even think maybe I did tell my parents that happened, but they probably thought I was exaggerating for the story. Bro, there was a moment where I was like, this might be it, dude. You're an idiot. Like, you're a fool for doing this and getting talked into this. What an idiot. You're so skinny, you could probably snorkel in a bathtub. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny. Anyways, I don't think I'm meant for the ocean, man. It's just not my deal. Johnny, you pirate. Dude, I would like to do that. The treasure hunting thing does interest me. It just costs so much money. All those independent people that go dig for those sunken ships. It's like millions of dollars, like all the equipment you need and all the different stuff you need to be able to do that project. There's no way. Man. Anyways, that was rough. Kent, I've had those talks too, John. Like, damn, Kent, this is it. Go ahead and call me out. I'm like, dude, there were some scary moments. There are a ton of shipwrecks in the big lakes. Yeah, but do they have the same kind of loot that the ones in the oceans do? Or is it like iron ore, like the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald? Like, I don't think there's a bunch of gold in there, right? It was iron ore. I don't know. Johnny can't possibly be a Dolphins fan. Dude, does anybody remember that show Flipper? Does anybody remember that thing? Flipper used to rule. I remember being little and it was like, bro, you had Lassie out there saving the day. You had Ring Tin Tin beating the bad guys. You had Flipper out here. Oh, the world's ending. Here's Flipper. And he would save the world all from the water. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. All these cool animals we used to have. Rin Tin Tin, Canine Cop. Anybody remember that? Free Willy jumped over the thing. Dude, telling you what. Lassie is a bona fide winner, man. Lassie rules. I will still watch that show. Good old family values and a good old dog saving the day. Life lessons, how to live, how to treat people. Lassie ruled, man. I used to love that show, man. He was out here just saving the day, man. Timmy fell in a well. He's fighting off wild animals. Like, Lassie always knew what was going on. Telling you. Oh, man. Oh, boy. No other show will go this way off topic and talk about the ocean and getting drowned. I love talking crap, but John, I love this show. Bro, John is an idiot. You never know what you're going to get, dude. You never know what you're going to get here. Telling you, man. Yeah, Old Yeller, dude. That's a sad one. That's a sad one. Hey, daughter, this is what rabies looks like. I'm sorry this happened. But sometimes I just got to get it out, man. But I have literally almost died and it was scary and I ain't doing it again. And you know what else? You're talking about Always Irish Senior. He's the same way too. That dude he gets so tan. He looks like he's from a different country. But he don't get in no water, man. My dad he ain't a water. He's going to go to the ocean and sit there and look at it. He ain't getting in there. Here I was thinking, oh boy, here I go. Let's go out in the ocean, you idiot. Anyways, all right. We're ending the show on that. But we're so down the path now. We're just going to end it. Wow. Yeah, that Cujo. So we're just going to end it here. We went a lot around what am I trying to say? Around a lot of topics. I would like to give a sincere thank you to everybody that donated today. I really appreciate that. And thank you for the Monday. And you know what else, you guys? It's okay to have a laugh. Like, it's okay to have a laugh and be goofy sometimes. Like, we're in the off season. We can sit here and I can make you laugh by telling all my dumb stories and all the stupid stuff that happens to me. Like, whatever, man. It doesn't always have to be like, I can't be so serious about the football that I need some other stuff. So, what is this? Kelly lost to Tulsa with his arrogance. Get used to it. Why'd you blow the game? Get used to it. All right. Good answer, bro. Unbelievable. This is serious. Stop joking, Johnny. Yeah. Well, I thought it was serious when I was hacking out salt water. I mean, geez. Unbelievable. Telling you, man, I spit up more salt than the Chicago roads in a February snowstorm. Unbelievable. All right. I'm out of here. You guys are awesome. I love this show. I love this group. Right out of my blowhole, dude. It's for the whole time. The whole time we were walking to the beach, I'm looking at the waves and I'm looking at my stick or whatever. And I'm going, bro, how is the water not going to go in the thing I'm breathing out of that's supposed to be air in this situation? But I didn't say it out loud. I was like, I must be the dumb one. Surely that I'm not seeing something right. No, the waves literally go in your blowhole. I don't understand how everybody else had fun. Anyways, all right, I'm out of here. This is my word. This show's unbelievable. I love you guys, though. Jeez, you never know what's going to happen. Oh, my UFO stories. We'll do those sometime this summer, too. And I'll go over the UFOs. Did I see a mermaid? I wish. There was 4 of them from Holland or whatever when my carcass washed up to shore. Should have been there the whole time instead of dying. Oh, boy. See you guys. I need to go chill out.